you doing there, Brian?
I'm deflating the tire. From the good people at Yantu, they've sent us a tire inflator. It's the A22 tire inflator. Got a link below if you'd like to get one for yourself. But we're gonna test it. We haven't tested it yet off camera. We're gonna do it live and show you how it works. We have purposely gotten a flat tire in the front. It's down to 12 PSI and it should be at 45 PSI. So let me show you some of the features of this thing. It comes in, oh, look at that. That's a nice looking bag. Me likey. That's pretty good. It's branded.
Wow. Okay.
We've got accessories on one side. Yep, so on this side you've got a airline and you've got a very long power cord from your 9-volt source. And then you also have different accessories for adapters to Schrader valves on bikes, inflating for sports things, air mattresses, and then a fuse, of course. On the other side, you got the goods. You got some foam.
Okay.
Really well packaged. Look at this.
Oh, this is like almost like a Bluetooth speaker.
It does. Very fancy inflator.
Oh,
look at that thing.
pretty cool.
Wait, Craig, ASMR.
Ooh.
So step one, Craig, we're gonna find a 9-volt power outlet in the car. Let's see how long this is. That's pretty long.
Wow.
All right, it's as easy as 1, get your power supply, plug it in. 2, plug it into your unit. She's powered up. And then this is the cool part. And instead of threading a line in that can leak, it has basically female to female air chuck on either side, just like you've seen on any other kind of air tool for a bike. One side goes over here to the caution hot nozzle. There you go, and you can adjust it at an angle where you want it to go. And the next we'll go over to our wheel, okay? We can see right now we've got 13.5 PSI. What I wanna do, oh, you can set it.
Preset it, nice.
Preset it and leave it to 45, and we're gonna hit, and bam, just like that, in a matter of minutes, you've gone from 13.5 PSI all the way up to 45 PSI. And the good news is this cable is just because we haven't charged it yet. This thing's actually battery powered, which is incredible. It's got a big battery in it. That's what this bulk is. Turn it back off and we're all set. I'm impressed with this. I'll be honest with you, I'm happy we have this in our fleet. We're gonna use this on our camping trips for sure and just in life. If you'd like one for yourself, check out the link in the description below. I think you're really gonna like this. Welcome back to Texas Truck Channel. I'm Brian. Sorry Craig's not here today. He had some previous engagements that are honestly more important than this today. So I'm gonna step in and be both of us. Anyways, this week we've got something super cool. We have the 2024 GMC Sierra 2500 HD AT4X with AEV package. This has the Duramax Diesel, the 6.6 liter, and I've got right here the Monroney. I'm gonna walk through some of the specs for you real quick. This puppy is beefy, $101,000. That includes the almost $9,400 option for the AEV edition, and that gives you these sweet wheels, the protection underneath, all the good stuff. And the other option on this is the $9,500 option for the Duramax Diesel, and that gets you the Allison 10-speed. I'm air quoting Allison because they're kind of being generous with their branding of that. Another option, volcanic red paint for $645. That's it. That's all the options it has, and it's over 6 figures. Now, we have driven last summer the GMC Denali Ultimate Diesel, this cab configuration, and it was more expensive than this. Kind of makes this a bargain for something that is such a beefy package. Now, starting out front, I've got the flashers on so you can see. Otherwise, it's hard to tell these are on in the daylight. These are beautiful, and actually when you have turn signals on, they have a better sequence. They do a sequential treatment. Out front, right away. If you don't have a front plate, like if you don't live in Texas, you can see this all the time. It says AEV, but the important part is this is boron steel. It's the hot steel stamping and has super beefy industrial looking recovery shackles on the front. Also, if you get a little bit lower, well, that's it. There is no red tow hook on this because you've got this guy in its place. Super awesome. AT4X in the badge, big red GMC branded up front, and then also the intake system this year has on it. It's pretty cool. Let's go to wheel and tire. It's a Salta branded wheel. I'm not sure what that means, but it is super cool looking. Combined with this tire, Goodyear Wrangler Territory MT, big chunky tread block. These are, see, they're E load range tires, and they are a, here we go, 305 70/18. That comes out to a 35-inch tall tire by roughly 12.5-inch wide patch. That's incredible. Now, this wheel to me is an AEV specific, so it's part of this package, is worth every penny. Plus you get the other stuff with it. It looks rally inspired, but combined with this tire, when I walk up to it, I think this is like a Oshkosh military truck. Kind of wild. Coming to the side, you've got the Duramax branding, Allison transmission 6.6 liter. These mirrors right here are one of the better mirrors in the business. I know we complain about tow mirrors a lot, but these work pretty good. They not only slide out, they'll power fold in. You've got, of course, the dome on the bottom and then some LED lights on the side. Happy with that a lot. You do get a side step that is power. And for the first time in my adult life, I'm glad this truck has them. because it's so freaking tall, because it's an inch and a half taller than a normal AT4. Part of that is because these boys right here. These Multimatic shocks are paired with a 1.5 inch lift kit, and these are the spool valve DSSVs that we've gotten used to on all these ZR2 products. Pretty cool to find that on an HD. Coming down the side, we get the GM step, which I'm such a fan of, although with this lift kit, it's so hard to get up there. You almost need the power step to make your way to the top. That's kind of cool. Because the diesel, we use both slots in the fuel door. We have the DEF fluid filler and then also the traditional diesel filler, ultra low sulfur, just like everything else today. Coming on back, I like this arch. I know it's kind of silly. You've got faceted arches instead of a continuous arch. Also GMC branding right here. I think that looks really good. Same good looking wheel and tire in the back, multi-leaf pack in the rear. Semi-elliptical is what GM calls it. I'm gonna call it a leaf pack with 5 leaves and more Multimatic DSSVs. A big beefy bump stop in the middle. Now, you see that pumpkin right down there? What's in there is an E-locker, which is really cool. It's not a G80 selectable E-locker, just like every other Ford product that does that. Well, Broncos, Rangers, F-150s, 450s, 350s, 250s, whatever. This now gets it, but you have to get this package to get there. Coming up back, AEV bumper again, plastic insert, but beefy metal up and down. Really industrial tow hooks. I feel like a helicopter could pick this truck up from here. And it would need these because it's 8,600 pounds. So there's that. You also get AEV badging back here. Traditional trailer light wiring, which is, there we go, a little bit dirty, but it's there. And you've also got camera plugs back here. You don't get a 4-way flat, but you get camera adapters if you have a backup camera on your trailer, which is pretty cool. Of course, you have the GM Multi-Pro step. And then you've got a drop down step, and then the kicker speaker system, which flat out does not work. We've had 4 of these on loan. None of them have worked, both auxiliary or USB. They just don't work. So if you own one and there's a trick, let us know, because we can't figure it out. Now, last but not least, coming up back, we've got the big beefy sewer pipe. Because she's a diesel, let's see what it sounds like. Okay, not bad. Let's see what's making all that noise up front. All right, guys, on our way up front, I just want to get a good, big profile look at this thing. I know people will want to see what these look like, and I think this is one of the coolest looking big trucks on sale today. It's impressive, and enjoy that look because we've got some issues I want to talk about here in just a minute. But first of all, let's talk about this intake right here because it works. All right, open that hood. It's nice and heavy, but you do have a dampened strut. And right here, you'll see, what is this? A direct sealed air intake that goes right here. So you get proper cold air that is not affected by this big honking turbo. Now, if rainwater gets in there, no problem, because this is a air water separator. Simply drains out, goes on the ground, no big deal. Now, this is the 2nd generation Duramax diesel. It is the L5P. It's good for 470 horsepower, 975 foot-pounds of torque, and it gets it done using basically a similar block architecture, but new pistons, new turbo, and new heads. Let's check out the interior. All right, before we hop in the interior, I want to show you guys, this is a really, really tall truck. I went through a car wash today and I wasn't sure we were going to make it, but we did. And that thing maxed at 7'4". So just for reference, I'm 6'4", and it's got to be a few inches taller than me. My head stops about there. So I'm just standing on level ground. This is not a pitch or anything like that. Completely level, and this thing's got to be at least 6 inches taller than me. That's a tall truck. Now, checking out the interior, this is not a new interior. We saw this thing last year, but it is a little bit unique to the AT4X. You get cross stitching back here, which I like, as Craig would say, a padded sill on the top and the bottom. Traditional door pockets, nothing crazy there. The rear seat is really cool. We know I can fit back here just barely, even with the sunroof, because it's got a massive cutout. But one of my favorite things are these hidey holes that GM gives you. That's a full jacket in there. That's someone's full-on, large-size jacket. That's cool. Matte pockets in the back, proper armrests. Big fan of that, and power sliding rear window. Second row is not totally for the lower class. You get AC, USB-C, USB-A, and heated rear seats. That's pretty cool. So just because it's off-road doesn't mean it doesn't have to be a luxury. This minor complaint down here, GM gives you this barrier wall, which is helpful to keep things like cameras from flowing out in the front. But when you have a backpack, it can't go all the way under, but it gets back enough. So that's a bit of a pass. Let's check out the front. All right, coming out front, we have that big step, which is helpful to get in, and some people ask this all the time. Let's get our payload ratings in right here. Let's see here, gross vehicle weight rating is 11,350, and we know the vehicle's weight is 8,600 pounds. Your max payload is 2,695. That is pretty impressive for something with an off-road flavor. That's awesome. That's got the power wagon beat for sure. Over here on the driver's side, it's traditional nice GM stuff. Cross-stitching, memory seats, cup holders, very blocky themes. AT4X with wood grain look down here. And then this is actually the massage seat function, which is kind of awkward to use, but nice to have. On the driver's side, here is an issue. The 4-wheel drive auto function doesn't work on this truck. We've been messing with it for about a day, actually I noticed it at lunchtime today. It worked earlier in the week. It does not work now. 4 auto. Now we're in 4 auto right here. should not be buckling. And the front axle is definitely, or the center diff is definitely locked up, as if it's in 4 high. So due to that malfunction, we're not going to launch this thing for 0 to 60 in 4 high. Something's not right with it. So I'm going to do a 2-wheel drive launch, and I'm debating on if we do the off-road or not. Makes me nervous if something's going to break. But when it's in 4 auto, it is actually in 4 high. Okay, so it's bound up. Then we're going to put it in 2-wheel drive right here, and the front just unloaded. So something's definitely not right. It feels like the front diff itself is locked. There's not a front locker on this thing, and as you can tell here, the rear diff lock is not activated. So not sure what's going on there. We'll reach out to GM and let you know what happens. All right, with that unfortunate news covered, let's go over here. We've got our heads-up display controls like traditional GM stuff. We have our start button right here. I like that a lot. Get our steering straightened out, and you've got the digital cluster. Now, we've gone and done deep dives on this on previous episodes. Go check those out if you want to see that. Same thing here, but I do want to point out that I do like the column shift. I'm a big fan of that. I do like the Alcantara headliner. A couple things I don't like: the aforementioned 4 auto not working. The panel gap on this dash is kind of ridiculous for a 6-figure truck. I mean, you could put, you know, a couple quarters in that gap. And the upper glove box simply doesn't work unless you rip and pull it up that way. Looks like it's about to break off. So for $100,000, it's a little bit disappointing. Not gonna hide that. Let's try our 0 to 60 and 2-wheel drive as good as we can. All right, boys and girls, Craig's not here to cheer me on, but let's just do it again without him. You're gonna get one time without him in the vehicle. I've done 4 passes already off camera like we usually do. I'm in tow haul mode. That seems to be the most aggressive shift pattern I can find. Traction off. It's in 2-wheel drive because the transfer case is acting up and I don't trust it at the moment. This is the second AT4X we've had with a drivetrain related problem. So let's just see what we can do in 2-wheel drive. It's the pinch and boost to the turbo, let it go. It's the pinch and wheel spin, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th.
60 feet time 2.50.
And 6th gear, that's 0 to 60 in 7.14. My best off camera was 7 flat. Now, point of reference, we've driven this powertrain before with the smaller tire, the 20-inch wheel, but not a 35-inch tire. This is 7 flat and 2-wheel drive. Now, is that totally meaningful? No, because if we could put it in 4 high and brake boost it, it would certainly do better. I still don't think it's going to beat the other time though, because the tire height is just is what it is. It's a tall tire. Now let's get into ride and drive. The biggest news here is the DSSV Multimatic shock. Same technology that has been used for a while on 02 products. 02 Colorado, 02 Silverado, and also now AT4X GMC Sierra 1500. Also now here in the HD. This is the first HD application. Now, while we haven't bombed through Baja, I'm here to tell you on road it rides a little worse than a regular shock and spring Chevy Silverado 2500 LTZ. We had that truck last year. It might be my favorite combination of HD truck in terms of ride and steering and handling. That being said, this isn't terrible. Just it's a 3/4 ton off-road package. Expect to spill some coffee as I have in this truck. It's not terrible though. We've definitely had worse. The 250 F-150s with towing packages are definitely the worst riding of all of them. Now, ride and drive, that's covered. Powertrain wise, this has to be the most refined heavy duty diesel on the market in terms of engine. It's been out for a while. It's kind of like the LS and LT pushrod V8s. This is a big boy pushrod diesel and it just works. It sounds a little bit like a school bus, but it's smooth and refined, and I keep coming back to that. They've been working hard at this, and they've got the best turbo you can have on this thing. They've got the best heads you can have on this thing, and it just works, and they last for a really long time. They're right there with the Cummins and all that kind of stuff you get, and Ford's now Power Stroke is reliable too, but it's a good package. The 10-speed, it's got a lot of work to do. It's got 975 foot-pounds of torque, and it's got 10 gears to handle, and the fuel cutoff is 3,000 RPM. It's got to shift quick, and it does. And I feel like you could do it with whatever you needed behind you, and that's kind of all there is to it. All that being said, this is probably one of the coolest looking trucks on the market. I'll stand by that GMC is one of the best looking, premium looking vehicles, or at least HD trucks out there, and this rings true to that. It looks like a military Tonka truck that your wife is happy to be seen in. Somehow that works in this truck. Things to look out for: panel gaps on the dash, glove box doesn't want to open, and the transfer case is stuck in 4 high when it really says auto. That's concerning. It's either that or the front diff is having a problem, and when the hubs are auto locking, it's binding. Who knows? If you've had a problem with that on yours, let us know and we'll report it back. And last but not least, I'm sorry Craig couldn't make it on this one, but he'll be back on the next one, I promise you that. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.